What up, guys? Welcome back. So today we're talking about the iPhone 15 Plus. About three and a half months later, I've been using this device the entire time, and a lot of my opinions are basically the same. I will be traveling over the next week. You can see here, last year on this day, CES, we're going back. We will be there tomorrow. A lot of footage coming. So if you're new to the channel, guys, hit that like, drop a sub. But let's check out the iPhone 15 Plus. We're going to talk about build quality first. One of my favorite things about this device is the build. Aluminum and glass, that matte finish, that frosted finish. This is the blue colorway. I know it's very light, a very muted color, but a very nice color. Forget about fingerprints. You're not going to see fingerprints on this device, and it is super smooth, very light phone. I do like it. Now it does, be careful. It is slippery, and if you drop it, because it's aluminum, if you drop it on cement or gravel or rocks, whatever it is, you will chip the aluminum, as you can see here on the top. I did drop this from about waist height, not very far at all, and it did chip the aluminum on the top and on the bottom. Throw a case on it and you will be fine. When I did drop it, of course, I did not have a case, but the aluminum on here, very lightweight, makes it feel very good in the hands. And of course, the squared edges here, they have the rounded corners, so not a problem to hold, unlike previous years where maybe you would get fatigued by holding the phone for an extended period of time. That is not the case with the iPhone 15 Plus or any of the models really this year, because across the board, the 15 Plus aluminum and glass, and then the Pro versions of the iPhone 15s, they are titanium, which is also very light, and we're getting the rounded corners. So a huge upgrade, a very small upgrade. You might not think it's a big upgrade, but when you are holding your phone all day long, like a lot of you are, it does make a big difference. Now, of course, depending on the case, you won't even notice it if you are rocking a case. So the build quality on here, big fan. Dynamic Island is now here again on these phones. Unlike previous years where the Plus and the regular iPhone 14 or whatever it was, they still had the notch. This year across the board, Dynamic Island, and it's not just an eyesore. It is usable and doing different things. You will be able to pull up. So if I wanted to, let's just say I wanted to play some music, and we start playing some music. Let me lower this so I don't play anything. But if we play some music on here, you can see now Dynamic Island is there, and you can access it, or you can just hold it down and it'll have a little pop-up window. So it is a feature that you can use, unlike the notch. So I really don't like either. I do prefer what Android is doing with the hole punch, but it is usable, at least compared to what we had with the notch. And I do like it much better than the notch. But the display on here, 2000 nits of brightness on here. This thing is super bright. I'm not going to, we are at halfway because it's so bright. It will blow out this, as you can see here on the camera. So, but outside with the brightness, not an issue at all. Now, real quick, excuse me. A lot of you guys, I get comments all the time about my wallpapers on my iPhone. So I'm just going to show you real quick where the wallpaper is. So just go into settings, and we'll go back out of here. Go to wallpaper. And if you scroll down, well, new wallpaper, scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see color. And when you click on color, it's going to give you different options by swiping. So you're going to see you do have different shades of blue. You have a deep blue, a vapor blue, kind of like a gradient look on here. Different options you can get, and you can go in and choose. Or if you click on this little button here, it'll bring up a color palette, and you could just pick a color or just leave it alone what you want. I'm going to keep it on what I have now because I like that, but that is where you would go and find the wallpaper. Tons and tons of messages. I even made a YouTube short on where to find this, so check out the short if you're not sure where to find these, or just replay this video. But the display on here is absolutely beautiful. Now, a lot of hate going on with this device about 60 hertz refresh rate, of course, and I get it. A lot of phones that cost much less on the Android side are all, of course, 120 hertz or at least 90 hertz when it comes to the refresh rate. But I don't care what you say, 60 hertz on iOS is much smoother than 60 hertz on any other Android device. And I use the S23 Ultra as my main device. So I'm using a lot of Android phones all year long. The OnePlus Open I just got back. I will be switching back to that, and the OnePlus 12 coming up. But the 60 hertz on iOS is smooth. Now, should it have at least 90 hertz? 100% it should. For the price we are paying for this iPhone, and of course, this is going to be a device. Whoever's buying this device, you're not using it for 1 year. So you're going to be using the iPhone 15 or the 15 Plus, especially with 4 to 5 years of software updates. Think 5 years. These phones are so powerful. You're going to get updates for 5 years on these devices. In 5 years, you're not going to be happy you're using 60 hertz. Now, if you're not a tech nerd like myself or the people watching this video, you're not going to care. But for those of us that care, in 5 years, there's no way you're going to want 60 hertz on a phone. But we're here. This is what we have. Maybe on the next versions, the 16s across the board, maybe we'll get 120 across the board, or maybe we'll get 90 on the regular 16 and the 16 Plus, and then 120 on the Pro models. But we'll see. Now, another thing that is different about this device compared to last year's models of the regular version and the Pro, this has the same main sensor as what we had on the 14 Pro Max. So a 48 megapixel camera on here with a 2x zoom. So you're going to be able to take better photos than what we had in previous years. Much better photos, much cleaner and crispier, better low light performance with this device when taking photos. And of course, if you want video, just grab an iPhone. You can go back a few years. iPhones have been taking great videos for a very, very long time. But the photos on here, well, as you see, are very, very good. This is all video because I shoot all of my B-roll, all my reels, all of my TikToks, whatever it may be for the podcast. I shoot all of that stuff on this iPhone right here. So any B-roll you see in any video that I do, I'm grabbing the iPhone 15 Plus, and you can see here how good the cameras are. Well, and the video, but there's a reason why I choose this device over any other device. Because it's just good quality. I know I'm going to get what I want every single time, and then I can airdrop it to my Mac to edit. But of course, I am in the Apple ecosystem when it comes to editing videos. So we're going to rock with an iPhone, well, probably forever when it comes to that. So the cameras on here, very, very good. Even compared to what we get on the Pro models, we are missing the extra lens compared to the Pro and the Pro Max. But you're really not missing out when it comes to the photo quality on here. Now this is USB-C 2.0. Transfer speeds are a little bit slower on here compared to what we have on the Pro models. But are you gonna notice a difference? Come on. Are you really how many of us are transferring files that big unless you're a professional, right? And I do this as a side hustle. This will be full-time eventually, but I don't care about that. Now, next year, I think we'll go USB, I can't speak today, USB-C 3.0. I think we will see that on all devices moving forward. But let's just be happy that USB-C is here, right? It's a win for all of us. You're going to be able to connect external SSDs and any other device you're going to be able to use now because of USB-C on your iPhones. Now, the software updates we talked about, 5 years. The camera updates on here, it's very comfortable. You already can find these used for about $150 to $200 off on eBay. So if you're on a budget, get a trusted seller on eBay or Amazon Renewed. You're going to be able to find deals. You do not have to pay full price for these phones already. But this is a solid upgrade. I think if you are coming from anything below the 13 Pro Max, you should absolutely consider upgrading to the 15 Plus this year. 14 Plus, it's still a good upgrade. 14 Pro Max, I'd probably hold on to that phone, but 13 Pro Max, still a beast of a device. I would be hard pressed. I might wait 1 more year if I had the 13 Pro Max before I upgrade, but if you were going to upgrade, the 15 Plus is going to give you better photos. It's going to give you better battery life. Not that the 13 Pro Max is a slouch by any means when it comes to that, but you guys know what I'm saying. We all like to upgrade our devices to the latest and greatest. So 13 Pro Max, that's kind of where I draw the line. Anything below that, anything below the 13 Pro Max, hell yes, upgrade your device. 14 and the 14 Plus also, this is much improved over last year's models of devices. 14 Pro, 14 Pro Max, I would wait another year or two and just keep those devices. But what we have here on the 15 Plus, Apple nailed it. This is one of my favorite iPhones. I had the Pro Max as well, and I returned the Pro Max and decided to keep the Plus this year because the differences between the two, I've talked about this in previous videos, the difference between the two phones is $300 when it comes to money, but the value, it's really only the one extra lens, I should say, and the 120 hertz refresh rate. Now, I know a lot of you in other videos that I've dropped it about the iPhone, that 120 hertz matters. For me on iOS, it doesn't. Would I like it? Do I want it? Of course I do. Is it worth $300 to me? It's not, because 60 hertz on this phone is very smooth. The one telephoto lens on the Pro Max, I'm not too worried about. Overall, I can get 95% of what I have on the Pro Max with the Plus, and I'm here for it. Save some bucks. You don't need the greatest all the time. The iPhone 15 Plus is still a beast, and it has better battery life than the Pro Max. Now, when I shoot a podcast, this thing is in there with us recording video, so I can do some short form content, but it's recording the whole podcast a lot of the times. And does it get a little warm, but nothing like I had with the Pro Max when I did try that. The difference in heat is night and day when it comes to what we get on the 15 Plus compared to the Pro models. Now, I didn't try the Pro, but I did have the Pro Max side by side. The heat was a big difference, and so much so that the Pro Max would worry me. Not that anything ever happened. It never even shut off, but it did get very hot compared to what we have here, which basically is always cool. But look, iPhone 15 Plus, do I recommend it? Hell yeah. It's a great phone, great device. My opinions on this device are still the same. It's a beast. It's a win for Apple. Peace.